Hi, I'm Rashonda Kate. This is Real and Raw with Rashonda, or it's Writing with Rashonda. It's both. I've got writing on my mind today, but that's what's real and raw with me today, so it's what you get. So I am thinking about revising with your reader in mind. When you revise what you have written, okay, let me backtrack. When you write something, you need to revise it. Don't ever go with your first draft. It may be amazing, but it's not your best work. So don't ever go with your first draft of anything, of an email, of a novel, of a nonfiction piece. I mean, I go with my first draft of my texts. Sometimes, trust me, you don't want to send your first try at something out there. So when you revise, revise with your reader in mind. Please don't consider your audience as your teacher or your professor. Now, we write for all kinds of reasons and for all kinds of audiences. We write for young adults, we write for children, we write thrillers, we write mysteries, we write academic papers, we write all kinds of things. But have in mind somebody that you're writing for. And if all you have to say is, I'm writing this for my professor, I'm writing this for my teacher, I want you to visualize, at minimum, an audience of reasonably intelligent people who just happen to not know what you're talking about, but they want to learn. So an audience of reasonably intelligent people who happen to not know what you are talking about, but they want to learn. So that's what we're going to work with right here when we talk about revising with your reader in mind. And there are three things to consider. The first is holes, the second is language, and the third is flow. So we'll talk about holes. Whenever we write, especially if it's something we're passionate about or know a lot about, we're going to leave holes because we mentally fill those in. So we'll go from point A to point D and leave out points B and C. So those are holes. So think about your reasonably intelligent reader who just happens to not know what you're talking about. And as you go through and revise, thinking about that reader will help you find the holes. It'll help you find the places where you moved from point A to point D or point A to point F, however much you skipped over to get from where you were to where you are. So think about your reader and what scaffolding they need to get to where you are. Usually we leave out something because we think, oh, they know that, or more likely we leave out something because we don't even think about it, because we already know and we assume people know. But if you assume a reader who is reasonably intelligent but just happens to not know what you're talking about and wants to learn, that'll help you slow down and add some of the things that you may have missed. The reverse of that is, keep in mind you are talking with people who are reasonably intelligent. You don't need to spell out everything to them. It's a delicate balance, but you don't want to have holes because they'll become frustrated and not understand how you're getting to where you are. So that's the first thing. The second is language. What language are you using? Are you writing for a formal audience, so you use your formal language? Are you writing for your friends, so you use your slang? Are you writing for your grandmother, so you are somewhere between formal and slang? Think about who you're writing for and what kind of language you should use for that audience. And I'm not sure what that might be for you and your audience, but whatever language you choose should sound authentic. Do not throw in million-dollar SAT words just because you can. If those are not words that flow out of you with some sort of ease, then those are not the words that you need to be using. I want you to expand your vocabulary, but if it's just way outside of what's normal for you, it's going to sound weird in your writing, and that'll throw your readers off. So write with your readers in mind, think about holes, think about language, and the last thing I want you to think about is flow. Does it transition from one idea to another smoothly, or does it feel like this as you go from topic to topic? If it feels like this, you need to smooth that out a little bit. Add some transition words. Think about how you can help your readers move from one idea to the next. I know that's not a whole lot to say about flow, but it is something to think about. We could teach whole lessons on flow, but what I want you to think about right now is, are you taking your readers on a smooth, seamless journey, or are you taking them on a rickety bridge that they're afraid they're going to fall off? If your bridge is rickety and you don't have flow, smooth that out, get rid of the holes, use language that is appropriate for your audience, and when you do those things, you will be revising with your reader in mind. I'm Rashonda Cade. This is Real and Raw with Rashonda and Writing with Rashonda.